Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Stream Scene. We have an awesome and a really informative episode for you guys today on a tough topic on bullying and harassment. I'm joined here by my lovely co-host, TheHunterWild. What's up, Hunter?
Hello. I have survived a week of nearly 80 hours of streaming, which is that's quite.
I don't know how you do it.
It's quite a feat. My body wants to just shut down and run away. Yeah, today's subject is one that is incredibly important. I think it's probably vital. And as time moves on in our increasingly internet culture, and internet involved culture, it's one that it's increasingly valuable to understand. We're tackling bullying today as a topic that's more specific to Twitch and internet culture itself, but also in a broader sense because it doesn't really have any boundaries, right? Now, bullying's been around for as long as humanity's been around, and it's now lately moved into this space that a lot of us occupy. We have two wonderful guests today. I guess I did end up rambling, didn't I?
I called it.
My two victims.
Who are going to share their perspectives and help us understand the landscape a little bit better. We have MissKyliee and Vana. Vana, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What are you about? Who are you? What do you do?
Oh, well, hi, my name's Vana. I've been a broadcaster 4 years this month, actually.
Me too.
Really?
Me too.
We're anniversary.
Really? Wow.
But I was really casual for a super long time. I just did it for fun and to connect with people online. So I actually just went full-time last year. So I've been doing that for a year now. And basically the focus of my channel is entertainment. I have a background in comedy, so I utilize that a lot. And then
nice.
Heavily community focused. So always making it a priority to interact with Chad and check in with them. And we just do a lot of talking and communicating and fun stuff. And yeah, just inclusion in general and good times. So variety games.
MissKyliee.
Awesome.
Okay, so I mean, I've been streaming a long time for 5 years now. 5 years and 1 month, if we're gonna be really specific. I was actually when I. Sorry, what?
No, I was just getting really specific with
that. Let's see. I actually did what you did. I played I was super casual at the very beginning, and then I went full time. And now I'm, I guess you would say, part-time because I went back to school to finish my degree in marketing, which is what I'm going for. And then I planned after that to use my marketing degree for streaming to go back full-time. That's going in a circle.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's actually more of a roller coaster than it is a circle. But I stream variety of games too. Pretty much anything new that comes out, I'll probably play it. I love playing story games. I love playing RPGs. I love playing MMORPGs. Like recently I've been playing, Maple Story 2. It's a super, super cute game. Let's see, part of my stream community, I always focus on, positivity. I read a silly positivity quote every day on my stream. It's a little thing that I do. And then
I like that.
Can you read us a quote, please? I want to hear one.
Yeah, give us one for today.
Okay, I'll give you one for today. Quote. What is today's date again? It actually has the dates and everything on them.
Oh, wow.
October
8th.
Positivity.
Okay, all right. Love is the greatest refreshment in life. That is today's positive.
I do
Nice.
prefer
A
carbonated.
tall glass of love.
Cute. But yeah, I just focus on that. I'm also a part of the Take This Streaming Ambassador program, if you've heard of that. We're basically, Take This is a nonprofit where they specifically focus on positive mental health within the gaming sphere.
Nice.
And they recently added a whole bunch of streamers to become ambassadors for that program.
That's cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a
Wow.
little bit about Woo!
That's really cool.
I want to clap, but that feels inappropriate.
So I guess getting started talking about this topic. So bullying and harassment, as Hunter mentioned, has always been around. With the internet, it's like a whole different breed. And with content creation, I think it's even to me takes its own unique form because it's a very vulnerable thing to stream, right? Because it's real time, so
It's very true.
there's a direct connection. You can talk in chat and the person sees it in real time. You get a real time reaction. And it can be really hard to deal with that, like in person. Like they can see your face, they can see how you're reacting.
Right.
You're out there. You can't just, sometimes it's not easy to shake it off. So I guess like, starting with like streaming and streaming in general, like what kind of what kind of forms of harassment have you seen or experienced that takes place, in your chat?
I imagine there's no shortage here. I'm the only man on this set of people, so it's like it's probably a wealth of bullying and harassment of a variety that's overwhelmingly unique to women from the set here.
Well,
Yeah,
if it's, I mean, on Twitch chat, I feel like all of us have unfortunately experienced some kind of like cruel
Definitely.
trauma. It could be like maybe just about your physical appearance, how good or bad you are at a game, or just, I don't know, literally sometimes you just come in with people that just have really bad days and they'll just be like, ha ha ha, ha, you're ugly. Oh my
Is that how
God.
you envision them behind the keyboard? One finger
That's
typing.
exactly how I envision them behind the game, behind the computer. But I mean, I feel like in general, unfortunately that's what a lot of streamers experience. And then even sometimes maybe just like even playing a game, you experience that even if it's not even on Twitch, just experience like an online game, you experience that as well. And then plus
Oh,
the
yeah,
Twitch
for sure.
chat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're playing multiplayer games or something, like, people can talk to you via VoIP, via text, and you see like horrible things, which honestly isn't really new because I remember growing up playing video games, playing like Halo and Call of Duty, and like the second people found out that I was a girl, like harassment rained down. Like I've heard everything, and that was like 14 years old, like hearing the worst kind of things.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate. Like, I don't even know why I was smiling. It's really an unfortunate thing. But it is something that we all have to deal with. Like, there's no way to, like, 100% block harassment from your online experience.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah, I think part of being a broadcaster is like, and what I hope people know going in and moving forward is that you really do need to develop a thick skin. Cause it's like, even if cause I know some certain, like I can be kind of a butthole sometimes, and sometimes I get salty, and sometimes, I'm not the most fun person, but even like I know some streamers who are just like the sweetest humans, the most magical people in the whole world, and they never hurt anybody or say anything bad about anybody, and they still get it. They still get called horrible things. They still get, comments about their appearance. They still get sexually harassed. They still get threatened. Like, it doesn't matter who you are or what you're putting out. Obviously, if you're toxic, you're going to get more of that back. But like you were saying, there's no like point where you're so nice that it's just not going to happen to you.
No matter what.
Yeah.
The internet gives you a mask, so like people are going to say and do as they please, no matter what, because they don't feel like they're going to have any consequences placed on them.
The easiest example for me is Simcopter 1. I'm sure most of you know Simcopter. He's the kindest, gentlest soul. And his response to even these things, it's just he's so, I don't know how he manages to do this instead. He's like, I just wanted you to know that was really hurtful, what you said. And he's managing this whole thing in that way. He's such a beautiful and wonderful, and he still has people coming in. He plays games that are very strategic, where you can really pinpoint some of the flaws in a particular approach. It's things like that. Even totally to your point, even the kindest, gentlest souls will still have, it's the internet and it's humans on the internet. That's sort of how that works. Come in, say the thing.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really hope none of you guys have ever experienced, but another way that streamers, because they're all, like publicly shown and everything, a lot of streamers get doxxed. And that's not good. That's not good at all. And a lot of streamers either don't know how to hide their information, or it's just freaking impossible because there's just so many websites out there that will track your information, and there's only so much you can do.
And some of the smarter members of Twitch have their real name in their username. That makes it really easy.
Yeah, there's like ways that you can make it a lot more difficult. I know a couple streamers who use fake last name or fake first names.
Yeah.
Or don't even say their first name at all. But I mean, mine's in my name. I didn't think about that when I first started streaming. I didn't think, oh, you know what? I need to be careful. I'm gonna get doxxed one day. Yay! Yeah. Like nobody.
The threat of doxing, swatting.
Swatting.
Yeah. You've got. DDoSing. I don't know why that was like stuck in my head. All the things, and of course, identity theft and elements oriented around that too. But which is a threat for everybody. But these are all things that are tied into very heavily being an easily public figure who's online all the time, who has to keep a constant presence on social media. Sometimes slipping information out there, like accidentally mentioning the street that you live on because it ties into a story that somebody just told. Like, oh, hey, I live on a street with that person's name too. How? Oh no! And then it's like out there, it's gone.
Like you can't
put it back in.
I mean, it's something like where, like when you want to start streaming, you don't think about like the downsides or like the horrible things that can happen. Like, and a lot of that is because like a lot of people don't like to talk about that kind of stuff. Like, we don't want to harp on the abuse that comes daily with streaming. Like, because at the end of the day, for most of us, like that doesn't consume us. It doesn't like weigh us down enough to like stop doing this. Like, we still enjoy streaming and it's a very rewarding experience. But there are a lot of things that you need to do to protect yourself when you're going into streaming, because like Kylie said, like you don't know what it could become. Like you may not realize when you start streaming that this could become a big thing for you, and then all of a sudden you're using like your name in your or personal information in your name or something that's like easily trackable because you've just been been careless about your information.
I feel attacked.
Careless. But yeah, so things like being careful about how you register for sites. Like a lot of websites will ask for your real name and your email and your username. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to actually put your real name on something unless it's like a legally binding thing, right? So like use a fake name, use an email address that's just for your stream, use a username that's just for your stream. And like those are definitely some things that you need to think about before you even get started streaming. Because like it doesn't matter even how big you get, like you will still be targeted for harassment. Mm-hmm. I feel like, absolutely, especially as a smaller streamer, you may even be more so targeted because you are inexperienced with facing harassment. Like you are more likely to react to, someone saying something in chat, and you're very more likely to see it. If someone with 10,000 viewers, if someone says something dumb, no one is seeing that go by, so
that's true.
As a small streamer, it's actually more prevalent to be mindful of these things.
Yeah, and I think toward that same end, I just want to throw this one out there that the bullying can work in the same way with when you're on stream, a person with 2 viewers where one of them is picking on you. That's half of your chat that is doing that. If I'm sitting there with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I've had like 450 people in there. If one person comes in and is a poop head, I'm like, okay. Everybody else is being fun and kind and gentle and hilarious, and it's so much easier to deal with that in that context. It feels like it's much more challenging in that smaller setting.
Mm-hmm. But that's why we have the ban tool and the auto mod. I mean, granted, there's still some times where it slips, or like if you're not paying attention, you don't see it, or maybe if you do have moderators, maybe moderators aren't there at the time. Like, I love that has these tools there for us. I feel like they're actively trying to think of different ways or be helpful for streamers so that so we can minimize that harassment and that bullying if it does happen in the chat.
For sure.
And the auto mod was a big one. I thought it was fantastic.
I was gonna say Like, I cannot recommend the automod enough. Like, it does catch a lot of things that the mods will have to approve, but it's better to, like, catch it into the net and then let the good things through rather than let everything through and then ban stuff. Like, it does so much for your
The
mental
mods
health.
have the approval tool. Like, that's what makes it great. Like, they go like, oh, that was inappropriately flagged. So click. Now it's out. Now everybody can read it.
Yeah, and the powerful thing is, like, you can have it so you don't see the automod stuff. So, like, I never see what gets caught in automod. So, like, when stuff gets handled behind the scenes, like, I'm literally not affected by any of that stuff that gets caught. And then it's no gratification for the troll, right? They want a reaction, they want attention, and their stuff is not even getting through to chat. No one is seeing that reaction.
That's a good man. I feel so good when you just know that it's like, oh, you said something mean. Haha, I didn't see it. Also, another thing is the follow age, not follow age. The follow only mode. Sorry. That's awesome. I love that. Even just like, even if you're not having, anybody that's come in that says anything negative, but you kind of like think, oh, I'm playing a game that has a really good chance for this story to be spoiled. Follow only for like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, sometimes maybe even 30. I love that feature as well.
I mean, it's a great thing if you're getting like harassed regularly,
that too.
Like and aggressively. Like, let's say there's like a group coming in and being toxic, like, put on follow mode. You can even put on sub mode. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like even if you don't have a sub button, I think you can put on sub mode and then only mods can talk. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like sub mode is really underutilized for people that have the power.
That's interesting.
That if you get like botted or like you're getting like just an influx of terrible people and you just want to pause chat for a minute, like turn on sub mode, have the mods clean everything up, then release everybody.
The other thing we do on my channel is in our Discord, we keep like a mod actions channel. So every ban or timeout or action taken by the mods is recorded verbatim in that channel. So if there's like a continued history of like harassment or abuse, we can go back and revisit like all of those screen names and like exactly what they said and see if like it's the same person or things like that.
Now, how is that done? How's that achieved?
I just made a mod only channel in my Discord, and so it's only accessible by the mods. And then whenever
do they copy pasta? Okay, so interesting.
That's what I have too.
I really want to get. I'm in the process. I've been in the process of developing a bot for the last like year, and that's one of the things I'd love to have automated. When there's a mod action, it just pulls it into that.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
that would be great.
Yeah.
Another thing is keeping chat logs.
Yeah.
Having a bot that can just log chat so that when someone messages you and is like, I got banned, I don't know why, and then you look and you see all the horrible things that they wrote, and there's like, well, because most of the time it is like they'll say, I don't know, like I didn't say anything, and then you're like, no, you said this horrible thing.
I'll show it to you.
Yeah,
I'll screenshot it. Here you go.
That's what's great about the mod actions channel too, is I can just search in my Discord for that username. And just be like, let's find out why you were banned. Oh, okay, this is exactly why. And you're still banned. And I've blocked you from messaging me. So, oh man, I love that new feature of you can whisper somebody and then they have 24 hours to talk to you, or 48 hours, and then they're not able to message you again. Have you guys used that yet?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No.
Turn that on. They changed the whispers in this like last update they did. And so you can turn off, so nobody can whisper you at all unless they're like on your friends list or something. But
I've had that one on.
You can message anybody if you have that set on. You can message anybody, and if they're not on your friends list, they have the next 48 hours to communicate with you. But after that, they're unable to communicate with you.
Oh, thank the heavens!
I didn't know that was a thing.
I've been using that for giveaways and stuff recently.
Great idea. That's why I didn't use it for giveaways previously, because it would open it up to somebody being able to forever message me afterward. Interesting.
Yeah, that's really handy.
So I think that's a really cool integration they did. But on the same subject, a while ago, this was like, I don't know, in the last year, they did an update to the clips channel where now in like if you open up the clip, it doesn't show you who made the clip, which like for a long time when I was getting like really harassed by like certain groups of people, I would go in after a stream and I'd look I'd scan through the usernames on the clips, and I just like check out or delete anyone's from usernames I didn't recognize, because it was like trolls coming in and trying to like catch me looking stupid, or you know, saying something, or just making rude titles of the clips and stuff and sharing them, you know, who knows where. But in a few updates ago, they got rid of that. So you can't do it in your My Clips channel at all when you're doing your like video production thing. You have to like completely open it out into like a new window. So
Yeah,
I have to go through clip one by one.
That is actually really
I've
annoying.
noticed
really
that too.
Because that was kind of a quick way to moderate the clips, was just
right.
I don't recognize
and I
that
don't
name,
think your mods
so.
can do that. I don't know if the mods can go through and
An editor probably can.
the mods can't moderate the clips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a problem. It's definitely a different form of harassment that's happened with clips, though. Is like people trying to take clips and make you look like horrible by just editing out like literally clipping the smallest like part to make it look like misconstrued. How important is that to moderate? Like, at what point do you just say, like, you know what, people are going to be doing this stuff. I can't control 100% of everything that happens. Like, at what level are you just like, okay, this I just can't. It's too much.
I feel like I only take that stuff out if it has like a lot of views on it, and then I'm just like, But like, other than that, if it's just like a small little thing, like it's just one of those things where you're like, as you just said, like you can't do everything. You have a real life too to worry about. So like, and it goes to the point of like not even just allowing that kind of stuff to get to you. You just know that people are dumb. If it really does bug you, just delete it. But like, it's something kind of like it's kind of going back to when I did YouTube a lot. The comments at first, I was so like mad at them, and I was like, oh, I delete all of them or whatever. And at the point, I realized I was like, that doesn't matter. People are just going to say and do what they please. It's up to you to be the one that really wants to get affected by it. And like clips, in my opinion, if it's not getting a lot of like traffic, it's not a big deal at all.
It's like that comes back to being a mental health thing, right? Like if you're just constantly looking at like the horribleness that people are doing to you, it is going to wear you down if you're just hyper focusing on this kind of stuff.
I think it's a three-parter. I think, and at the same time, I want to initially acknowledge that this is ignorant to some extent, but I think this is a three-part. I think the first one is doing the most that you can to protect yourself in advance, taking steps to do some of the stuff like mitigating access to your information publicly. Some of the things that I do are like, I used to be a game developer. I don't tell anybody what studio I worked with. It's specifically because people can track down the information, find the other people who are involved, and they're not streamers, I don't think. So like they can find public information because they're not interested in protecting it. Same thing with like other places that I worked. I'd like to not mention the name, things like that to try and protect yourself in advance. Then there are the tools that you have for immediate action, mods, auto mods, doing stuff, trying to watching the moderation listing, like you were talking about, Vana, was the having the mod actions, stuff like that, being able to monitor it in the moment and go back and reference these things and make sure that you're keeping the contemporary, the always in the moment flow good and safe. And so that's part two. Part three is there's stuff that you just can't do anything about. And I think that's the point where you have to, I think that's a matter of self-knowledge, self-awareness, and self-work that also involves self-worth and confidence, working to feel confident in your product, in yourself, in your community, in your moderators, the things that slip through. You got to do your best to go, it's out of my hands. Let's not talk about it. Let's not do anything about it. Nothing to be done. We'll just focus on the things that we can do. We can have fun.
Right.
We can communicate with each other, with open hearts, open arms, open minds, and just sort of love our way out of that toxic thing that's infiltrated. I feel like generally those are the three parts to handling it as a whole.
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to be honest with you with all that. That takes a lot of work and that takes a lot of time. So a lot of people, I call it a healing process because I feel like you're slowly healing to get to that I guess level of being okay with the stuff that's not okay. And as I said, it can sometimes take a couple years. It
For
just
sure. I mean,
depends, like,
yeah.
I don't think anyone is still 100% immune to like what people say. Like,
no.
no one's bulletproof, but it is, and it's hard to like completely prepare for someone to come into your chat and say something mean. Like, it's literally something that you can know exists and you know it's going to happen because it is going to happen. But like, it still is like that initial interaction is just, it's very uncomfortable. It takes time.
So how do you guys handle it in the moment? Vana, what do you do when somebody's coming in and like doing it immediately at you? Like, what does it feel like, and what's the response? And like, how do you manage that?
Well, I have a really, really fantastic mod team. Like, there are people that have just been with the channel for a long time, like solid community members, just like good people. So they have just such a good radar for that stuff. So a lot of times they'll catch it, you know, as at the moment I see it or before I see it, and I'll usually still click and make sure what it says, you know, just so I know. I probably shouldn't do that. I don't know.
I try to avoid clicking.
I'm very curious, so I can't help myself. But I'm really grateful because I do have a great mod team, and I think that is so super crucial, is finding people in your community that you can trust and that want you to succeed and want to protect not only you and the content you're creating, but the rest of the people in the community. So I think that's huge. But as far as like me like actually responding to it, I just don't. Like every now and then, if it's something really stupid, I'll point it out to make it a joke. You know, I'll just be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. You know, cool about your big weenie. It's so fun. So proud of you. You know, if it's something like that, I'll call it out. But if it's something like legitimately abusive or harassment or toxic, which all of it is, but you know what I mean, that nuanced difference, then the mods will take care of it, or I'll take care of it, and I will not bring it up. I will not address it. If anybody else brings it up in the chat, I won't address that comment.
Mm-hmm.
If multiple people bring it up, which normally people don't, I feel like my community is really good about like knowing not to feed the trolls.
Right.
Yeah.
But if people keep bringing it up, I'll be like, oh, let's move on. We're doing this thing now. You know, we're gonna play the game. So that's kind of how I handle it in the moment. And then and also like if it's really bad, or if it's obvious somebody's making multiple accounts, I will ask my community to report the accounts.
Yeah.
I'll just go, I won't address what they said. I won't do this. I'm like, okay, that person who just got banned. If you guys just want to really quick, do me a quick favor, report that account. The more reports they get, the more alt accounts we report, the more likely their IP addresses to get banned. And then less people are getting bombarded with that crap.
Yeah, to that point, there was another recent change. We're talking about the ways in which Eris, you gotta stop. The ways in which Twitch is trying to, well, not necessarily get ahead of it, but respond to some of these things with their own, with introduced policies, as well as features like automod and whatnot. There was a recent one just within the last couple of weeks, I believe, 2 weeks ago, where you can only register one account or you can turn off the feature where you can register more than one account to one email address. So one form of harassment that was happening, it was so subtle, but it was becoming constant. It was something that was happening to me. Was somebody was making tons and tons and tons and tons of accounts using my email address.
Your own email, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you just get emails about it.
And
about
so my mailbox was just full of the HunterWild V, the HunterWild VI, the HunterWild W, all these accounts that were being made with my name and my email address. There's another one that you can.
I hate that.
I got that too. It was so annoying.
What?
So there is a setting now. There is a setting now that you can change, that you can untick, and I think by default it may be off. I think mine was off.
The problem is, though, which is an issue that I've brought up a few times, is the fact that you can register as many accounts as you want with your own email address, which is literally only people that want to troll people do.
So that's why I started with that comment, and then I realized it wasn't related to that. It was actually for your own email address. So people can still make as many as they want with that one email address. But if they do, to that point, reporting them hopefully shuts that down.
Yeah, which unfortunately, if anybody can like knows what a VPN is or can afford one, that's at that point Twitch can't do anything, which is kind of a
Unfortunately.
bummer. I wish there was something more that they could do, but
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no, and it just goes back to not being, there's no foolproof harassment combat method. But I mean, it's much quicker to just click the ban button on someone and send in a report than it is for that person to have to
Create an account.
reroute their IP and
Yeah.
register a new account, verify their email. If you have follower mode on, they have to follow.
I've had like IP addresses get banned with like 300 accounts on them. Like they'll get back to me and be like, "Oh yeah, well we did IP ban this person because they had 300 accounts on this one email." It's just like,
who has that time?
Isn't it against you?
Oh, I'll tell you who has time.
Like, why is that even allowed?
Imagine what you can do with your life in the time. You could be the master of the universe in the time it takes you to make 300 accounts.
What a fun game!
You have a PhD.
Yeah.
But on the topic of how you handle when it happens in your chat, so there's a couple of different ways you can go about it. It really ultimately depends on you and your comfort level. If you have the thickest skin ever and you're like, bring it on, trolls, like,
oh yeah,
if that's what you want to make your channel about, which is like calling people out and like torching trolls, and that's what your chat's going to be about, then that's fine. Like that's your prerogative. You can do that.
It's true.
You know, if you want to keep the chat moving and not absorb, you know, not have a troll have a ton of attention, you definitely don't want to call out those comments. Or if you do, you want to be able to move on and have your chat be able to move on once you say your last word and then move on. If you're really sensitive about, you know, harassment and you just don't want it to affect you at all, like, you know, make sure you have mods, your auto mods. Don't read the messages that get deleted. Don't click on that. Just let that stuff go. There's actually a better Twitch TV setting that allows you to completely hide deleted messages.
Yeah.
So if someone gets banned, you'll not even know that message existed. It's pretty much like Automod, but post that.
I highly recommend that one personally. I use that for the majority of my Twitch career, and it's wonderful because I noticed how much it was affecting me to even just see that something was gone, and then you can even see the message previously. I think it wouldn't give you a message deleted clickable thing. It would, like, I think you could just see it with one of the settings. Having that completely removed was a godsend.
For sure. Like, even seeing the fact that messages are deleted, it's a mental thing. You're like, oh, like, what's happening? If you see that a lot in chat,
my curiosity, no.
Yeah, if you start seeing that a lot, you're like, okay, like, this is uncomfortable. Like, it still is a mental thing. It does take a toll. Like, for me now, the only time I see that is when people are posting StreamerSquare. So I know when people are doing that because it says message deleted, and it's the only time I'll see a deleted message. But yeah, so it really, like, it comes down to your comfort level, what you can handle, what you want your chat to be about. As everyone is now getting timed out for StreamerSquare.
StreamerSquare.
Because you can't do that here either. So, you know, take as extreme a measure as you want based on how you want to run your channel and what makes you comfortable. Because if you find yourself getting absorbed with that stuff, like, it really will ruin your enjoyment of streaming. And ultimately, you know, you should be doing what is best for you.
So can we talk for a second about that cultivation of toxicity, either intentional or accidental? I know that was something that that you guys wanted to talk about a bit. Having like Lowco said, it is your prerogative to choose how you run your channel, and that can be a very distinct and clear choice on the part of the broadcast. But some people do it incidentally because we're overwhelmed emotionally, and as human beings who are inextricably tied into our emotions, tend to get that's a gravity well, and we can get fully absorbed into it and can't escape, and then tend to feed back into it. What do you guys think about that cultivation of toxicity, like both the intentional and the incidental, and how do you manage it? And where's the line?
I think as far as like the incidental thing goes, or kind of like accidentally cultivating that environment, is where people value the numbers over like the quality of the viewership. So especially when your channel's small, it's really tempting to just be like, okay, this person is in here and they're being kind of toxic, but I only have, 10 viewers. So like having this other viewer is like pretty crucial at this point in time, which is not true, because for every person that's like actively talking in your chat, there's a bunch of people that might be lurking. Like there's people that are active in the chat that will no longer be active in the chat based on the negativity or the toxicity that they're seeing, and may even leave,
And you wouldn't even know.
And you wouldn't know, especially with the lurkers. So it's like, oh, persevering, trying to work to persevere like this one toxic person could actually be costing you exponentially larger amounts of like actually like either non-toxic or like positive contributing community members, and you're just putting that on the wayside for what? For an empty number, because that person isn't there for you, and they're not there to support you. They're there to upset you and whoever else is around,
I think, and to that point too, there are many things that tie in the exact same way. Even if other people manage to stay around and not leave when somebody else is being like brutally harsh in the channel, if for some reason they stuck around, and you're keeping the viewership number there, presumably in order to get more people into the channel, right? You climb higher in the listing of the game listing or whatever, more people come in. The more people that come in and see that that's the behavior in the chat, the more likely the people who do that thing are also going to speak up and contribute to it, and so on and so forth. And that is it creates an inherently toxic environment that you're never going to have fun streaming in. So even
or watching it.
Or watching,
I've been a viewer in a number of communities where I'm like, I love this streamer and I want to keep watching them, but it's like if I have to like turn off the chat, that ruins like a good percentage of the experience for me. It's like,
I can just watch YouTube for that,
because I'm getting sad, I'm getting upset, I'm getting like uncomfortable or whatever is going on. And then if I just like shut down chat, okay, I can still enjoy the stream, but like part of the thing I love about Twitch is like that duality of the content and the streamer, but also the community around them. And it's like, if 50% of what I'm here for is just like wasted, like, or, there's 200 of them, but none of them will stop saying penis. Like, I don't, I'm going to go somewhere else, and I try to think about my perspective as a viewer, because I know I'm not like, the only person who handles it like that or views it like that. So.
And honestly, like even the biggest streamers or the people that have been doing this the longest, like are unable to handle a toxic chat forever. Like, there's a big streamer right now who gets like tens of thousands of viewers and is like getting fed up with like having their chat just run wild and trying to like, enact better moderation methods to try to like get rid of that toxicity. So I mean, while it seems like something in the short term that may like be edgy and stuff like that or whatever, like it's not something that can be kept up forever.
It weighs on you. It weighs on you very heavily. When at some point, almost everybody will have a day where they wake up and go, I really don't want to get back into that again. And it's every day. It's the entirety of chat. It's the entirety of the stream. Every time I look over, it's this whole wave of just gruesome, vulgar, vile stuff. And you, at some point, you're like, oh no, I kind of just want to be like happy, I guess. And at that point, it's too far gone. Not necessarily. Right. It's not like you can never do anything about it, but the amount of work that you have to put in to try and not only rein that in, but restructure your community in order to promote that by itself. And that's painful.
Didn't Twitch like make it be not a rule, but like part of their TOS where it's actually now the streamer's responsibility to make sure that the stuff that they allow on their stream isn't, bad. So I do wonder how those people that as you said, not that they're like allowing the community, that's just how the community is just grown and they don't know how to do anything about it. But like, I wonder how, like, are they still fixing that, or are they?
I don't feel like a lot of action is taken in that regard. I think.
I thought it was a part of the TOS.
I mean, sure, there's a lot of things that are in the TOS that don't get like ramifications all the time,
It may be something that's intended to be brought in when another issue is present, like that person has done something that they shouldn't be doing. We want to address that. And in order to really strengthen that case that we have, we're going to point out how they've also violated the terms of service in that regards.
I think in an ideal world, Twitch would love if everybody followed the TOS. Just like in the real world, there are laws that not everybody follows. And guess what? When people break laws, they don't always get caught or like held. They have no consequences for their actions. I don't know if you guys watch the news, but so, and that's the same thing on Twitch. It's like, yeah, there's TOS, but that doesn't mean it's always upheld. That doesn't mean people are always reporting it. That doesn't mean when people report it, that there's always follow through or that it seems like, toxic enough to actually, produce consequences or something like that. I mean, I've had, and I don't know if we want to transition to this yet, but I mean, I've had other streamers be toxic in my chat before,
I was just going to transition to that, so feel free to elaborate.
Okay, yeah. So and I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but it's happened to me. There's probably been like 5 or more partnered streamers who have done that to me.
That still blows my mind.
It's crazy.
I've had it happen to me too.
I'm like
other partners.
I'm a small stream, so it's just like it's so weird to have like channels that are bigger than mine. These partnered streamers just come in, and I think they just see me as like easy prey because they know like my channel's smaller than theirs. But it's like, I think the one person they actually harassed me in my chat, so I reported them, and they got a talking to. But they came in and were making comments about my body. They were calling me thick, like they were like just like making objective,
like targeted harassment, like you specifically, not just like, hey, poopy head.
With their partner badge on in my chat. I've never seen them before. And they got, and I reported them, and all that happened is that they got a talking to, and they had an excuse that was like, they told their partner manager when they got confronted about it that one of their friends had gotten on their account and done all this.
Oh my God, that sounds like a typical.
My brother did it.
My little brother got
my brother got on my account, man.
On my account. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had an issue with a Twitch partner too. Really?
No, nothing happened. He gave that excuse.
Did he stop? Did he stop coming?
I banned him, so
he did in fact stop.
That makes sense.
So not bothering me again, but that's the other thing. Don't be afraid to ban partner badges. Not worth it. Not worth it. No, they're not. If they're in there harassing you, they're not going to do anything to like boost your career or anything. They're not here to help you.
Yeah.
I had something happen a long time ago, kind of similar to that, but it was more towards Twitter than it was actually on Twitch. It was just a random guy, I'm not going to say names, but he took a screenshot of my stream during like a stream event. It was totally innocent. And he twisted like how it was and made it like seem like this horrible thing where he just sent his like waves and waves of followers to my Twitter just to harass. And the not funny thing is, but the good thing that came out of that is that they actually let me go on, I think it was DJ Wheat. He saw that was happening and he actually stuck behind me with that and like got me on like Twitch Weekly and said all these wonderful, nice things.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I know. I thought that was like such a really sweet thing that he did, but
that's a bleed purple moment.
It is a very bleed purple moment at that point. So it's not even just like Twitch. Like I'm sure it happens where other streamers harass on not just Twitch, but Twitter and maybe even Instagram. I don't know. I don't have an example of that at the moment. Well, I mean, mine was Twitter, but
yeah. So this is actually a change with the updates that we were talking about to the TOS earlier this year. So you are now culpable if you do something outside the platform now. So if you are a partner and you're harassing someone on Twitter, you're harassing like another partner, like you can be banned on Twitch. Your actions outside of Twitch, can be used against you on Twitch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm glad they did that because multiple of those partner cases of harassment that I've talked about, I went to Twitch and they were like, well, we can't do anything because most of this harassment is taking place on Twitter.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like that's the person.
Still them. Like
they're not just a tool bag here.
Yeah.
They're a tool bag. Like they're out there everywhere they go. They're probably being a tool bag, except maybe when they go to grandma's house. And even then,
And for one of the cases where exactly like you were saying, MissKyliee, just like this swarms of this person's like community just kept attacking me and like threatening me and calling me like the most horrible stuff. This is the first time this happened to me. And what had happened is they did something toxic in game. I reported them to the admins. The admins made a decision based on my report to suspend them for a week. They made a tweet that said suspended for a week, frowny face. And then someone said, what, why? And they posted a link to the highlight reel I made to send to the admins as proof that it happened. And so it directly linked to my Twitch account. So it was on Twitter, but he put a direct link to my Twitch account. So every time I went live for like a month, there was just people coming on. There were people coming in, calling me the worst things. They had all these like
exactly
really
why I like the outside reference stuff. The fact that you could point to it.
Yeah. And I'm glad you guys brought that up because I didn't realize that was the thing. And so now I'm glad that if something like that happens again.
Yes, it's part of the recent changes.
Keep in mind, it's not retroactive though. Like if it's happened in the past, I just didn't.
Which also sucks, but
yes, I agree. It does suck. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But I guess if somebody, you know, if somebody has, if a person has reformed their ways, or if they're trying, because that's rarely an overnight kind of a thing too. You know, usually it's like you get hit with that wave of shame and guilt, but your response to that, as a part of the thing about bullying at its heart, at its essence, is a sense of powerlessness, right? That's a core and critical element through and through of bullying properties. And when you feel the shame that usually comes along with it, for a lot of people, it tends to even further that sense of powerlessness. Like now you feel a little bit more worthless than you already did before. I think most of us have been through that kind of thing. So there can be an even greater lashing out in those moments. But over time, a lot of people have the opportunity to reform, and it does take a lot of time and a lot of like personal healing and a lot of back and forth with a community or a number of communities, fortunately, on the internet that are hopefully very helpful with that. So it not being retroactive, I think, can be a good thing for allowing people to not infinitely be burdened by stupid behaviors of an old version of themselves. Like I know that I can definitely speak for myself on this one. I've had plenty of dumb in my life, and I'm glad that my 2018 self isn't judged by that I do get the opportunity to present the me of today.
It takes a lot to forgive someone, but every single person, in my opinion, unless they've murdered someone, deserves a second chance.
That's the one.
There's a lot of other things too, but in specific in the Twitch community, a lot of words and hurt, can obviously really impact someone. But if you can be the type of person that could actually forgive someone that has hurt you, that makes you such a strong individual, both for yourself as well as that other person. Because most of the time, the people that are bullying, it's coming from I call it the root. It's the root of the problem. There's always something that makes that person be that way. And it could be, having life struggles, or their boyfriend or girlfriend just broke up with them, or, they just had a really bad day at school, or
they were bullied themselves.
Exactly. It takes a lot to if you can just get to the root of the problem sometimes. And I know as streamers, we don't have the time to be able to sit there and just turn everything.
We're not therapists.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
But if you can manage to just forgive, it's a really powerful thing. And I know that it's not sometimes it's not even possible for some people, and that's okay too. But if you're able to push beyond, and going back to what you said, but about it not being retroactive, if you can learn to forgive, I mean, it's kind of forcing you to not be not to be okay with it, but to understand, then I feel like that's a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I try to do every now and then, if a comment sneaks through chat that's not appropriate, I'll try to be hey, that's not okay. You shouldn't talk to people like that. Just to try to sometimes you just need I feel like people sometimes just need someone to be
yeah,
okay, dude, that's not cool. Like, don't
do that.
You know, it's like they're looking for a certain reaction and they get something that's completely different. They're like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, they get turned back. Or even just saying, hey, like, you know, like, I'm sure you didn't mean that. I'm hoping that your day is okay. Like, literally just opening the door. I don't do that every time, just because, like, I'm the type of streamer that I like to kind of ignore the stuff and push more of the positive.
It's exhausting.
But yeah, sometimes, like, when somebody comes in, they say this really mean comment, and you can just go, hey, you know, I'm really sorry. Yeah, like, well, not that. Well, I mean, kind of like that, but like, just like, hey, I'm really sorry I'm hoping that you're having an okay day. And then sometimes I've had this happen where they're like, I'm so sorry that I said that. I'm just having a really bad day at work. And then you're just like, it's such a nice, like, that happened a lot. No, it doesn't happen a lot, but when that happens, it's awesome.
From personal experience, I know that I can get overwhelmed and can occasionally really enjoy my position of power, being the one idiot with a mic and a camera. No matter who's saying what, I'm the guy that everybody can hear. And there are definitely moments where I get overwhelmed and I'm like, all right, listen here, you know, and I'm going to go into that. And I don't think it helps the situation in any way, shape, or form. Eventually, I, in a moment of clarity, realized that there's an opportunity to create a command in my chat that other people could use, so that I can just go like, chat, can you use the love command for this person, because I don't want to get carried away, because I can do this. Oftentimes I'll start with with something that's kind and like, you're just being a little poopy. And immediately after that, I'm like, and it just steps up a notch. I don't know what it is, but I know it about myself. And I think that's an important part of being a broadcaster, is understanding your own reactions to things and trying to mitigate the negative qualities of it. And beyond that, more than just the responsibility of the individual, including us as broadcasters, but the responsibility of a community. We have an immense amount of power that far extends beyond the sum of its parts in a community and mini society light on Twitch and within our own streams. We can capitalize on that and leverage that to create better people by example, by showcasing the value that a community can have. And part of that is not allowing yourself to get carried away and trying to put in safeguards for that. Mine is the love command. I've got a bunch of quotes in there that are meant to really focus on a sense of powerlessness to the bullying thing, a sense of powerlessness, and how you can overcome that or feel value despite feeling put upon by the rest of the world. All that kind of stuff focused around the bullying stuff, so that I don't have to bring it to 11 like I can sometimes accidentally do. I can get carried away.
Well, I mean, it's an emotional thing. Like, we're only human. We make mistakes all the time. Sometimes, like, you know, you just come on stream and you're already having a bad day, and it's sometimes easy to get carried away. And, you know, and some days, some days you're like, everybody in the chat could be mean. I can handle it, you know, but like, we make mistakes. We're human. We're fine.
Yeah.
Just to tack on to what you were saying, Hunter, is I think I try really hard to be an advocate in my channel of calling out bad behavior that's not necessarily like blatantly toxic, especially with like people who have been in the community for a while, or like I recognize them and they say something like off or, you know, misogynistic or racist or something like that. And I'm just like, no, you can't, you know, and not like calling them out and being like, you know, you stupid idiot or something like that, but being like, hey, what you just said is not okay. Here's why. And
a teaching moment. You turn these into teaching moments.
I'm gonna time you out for a little bit just to purge, you know, the comment. And I hope you come back with like a new perspective on this stuff, but know that it's not okay here and it's not okay anywhere else either. And I think if you continue to, you know, present yourself like that and interact with people in the world like that, you're going to be doing yourself a lot of harm and
perfect
other people.
Yeah.
But
you're teaching. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. But I think that's what we have to do just as humans too. I think as streamers, it's a little different because I like to think every streamer has a platform. Every content creator has a platform. Whether you have one viewer or, 100,000 viewers, is you have a platform, which means you have influence, which means you have a choice to make of whether to use that influence for good or for evil or some sort of gray area in between. And ideally everybody would be trying to make the world better and teach people and make themselves better and teach themselves to be better. But you do have a mic, you do have a camera, your face is on the thing that the people are there watching the thing and the do. So that gives you a little bit of power and a platform, whether you like it or not. And you have to take responsibility for that. Like the minute you decide to become a content creator, you don't get to be like this, uninvolved entity. You're involved now, and you have influence, and people are looking at you and they're listening to you, and they're repeating the things you say, and they're repeating the behavior you perform, and they're treating people the way you treat them. And you don't get the joys of power without the responsibility that comes along with it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Yeah. Wait, I can't have my cake. I can't eat it. You can have your cake. The responsibilities that we have to craft for us is very important. There are a lot of benefits that come along with content creation, extraordinary benefits, a great joy that comes along with it, and you have to pay the dues. You have to pay the taxes for it. You have to take on the burdens of responsibility, I think, to be doing it properly, and especially if one of the things we all want to be perceived in a positive light to some extent by other people. And that's one of the relatively easy ways to do it, is to take the responsibility seriously.
Mm-hmm. You have to teach people the way you want to be treated and how you want others to be treated as well. It's a teaching thing. So yeah. And so, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. No.
Okay, I was going to change the subject. So.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I just think it's our responsibility as content creators to correct behavior, just like how in our real lives. Like you were saying earlier, Hunter, like you're a better person in 2018 than you perceive yourself as 2 years ago or whatever, which I feel the same. Fortunately, a little more than 2 years ago, fortunately. Oh. Or whatever. I mean, I think as humans, we're always evolving and growing and changing, and ideally for the better. But in the same way that if you did something, like you performed an action or that was toxic or said something toxic, in the same way that you would want someone to grab you and go, hey, no, like you're embarrassing yourself. You're hurting this person over here. Like you've got it really twisted and wrong. And I think you're misguided and it's harmful and problematic. Like the same way that you would want to know if you were being problematic, you should want the people in your community to know that. Because how are you supposed to find out? Well, right. Unless somebody tells you, like, there's if you're in the dark and somebody just comes by and kicks you and is like, "Hey, don't do that." That doesn't show you the light. Somebody has to go like, "Hey, it's over. Look at you can now see the stuff. It's over there." Yeah. So that's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we get better. And as much as we want that for ourselves as content creators, we should want that for people in our community, and we should want that for the people that know the people in our community that are also going to come to that knowledge or that understanding through the chain of understanding and of growth. So great perspective.
Yeah. So I do want to get into our Q&A. So if you guys do have any questions, we're going to try our best to answer all of them. So feel free to ask any questions. We already have a couple, it looks like, here. So we'll get started on this. So Wes asks, how strict are your rules/guidelines for mods banning timing out? And how much of it is trust and reading the room? Did you give them a list of things?
Do you guys have answers? I'm ready to go.
You go ahead.
Talked a bunch.
I talk more than anybody on this show, every time.
Are we gonna have a talk off, Hunter?
I do have a set of guidelines. Do you have a set of guidelines for mods, written?
Yes, I have some. Mm-hmm.
Pamphlet. Getting started pamphlet.
Work through the
like a Google Doc
binder. They all have to take the binder.
I think a lot of it's learning to my mods are part of the community, right? So it's they kind of have already got a feel of what's okay and what's not, and then they just kind of work with the mods that are older that have been around to be
hey, is this okay? Yeah. Yeah, it's all about asking questions, going back and forth with the streamer. If you're not sure, if you're a mod and you're not sure, you just ask the streamer like, "Hey, this happened today. Would this be something that you would want banned?" And then, yeah, it's definitely something. Or no, that's okay. It goes back and forth. It's something that constantly, even today, like I have some mods that I'm like, oh, you know what? No, that actually is okay. And then sometimes where there's things that don't happen that I didn't like talk about because I didn't think of the situation that happened.
Yeah.
Then you can talk to them about it. There's so many situations that can happen that you can't literally put everything
Right.
in a list.
That's one of the principles that we have in our guide tome. Watch out, kitty.
Cat transport.
And I HB Fox, who's the manager of the stream, and I both kind of put this to the fore. You as a moderator were chosen. You're the chosen one. You were chosen because of who you are and how you act and perform within the community. So your discretion is important. We're not just picking random people and going like, hope you abide by the rules, you know, like people who are acting responsibly and with the proper attitude and so on. So make the considerations your own, but use these as guidelines. Then we have the list of things. It's like, you know, here, because there are a lot of things too that many people don't understand how a certain joke is actually misogynistic or actually transphobic, not even understanding why it's problematic in the first place. And that can include mods. They're not perfect. They're not Jesus with a sword, figuratively on the internet.
I did mod Jesus in my chat.
Very smart moves. I've got the Dalai Lama. He's okay.
Not very active, and I.
Oh no!
So I might unmod him soon.
Well, maybe we'll get the second modding of Christ.
Oh goodness.
Well, I feel like I should. I feel like I've thought 100 times I should have a list of rules, but I don't. That's kind of on brand for me. But I should do that, and it never happens. But I think I'm super, super, super picky when it comes to mods, and it's like one of those things where I wait like months and months, maybe a year, you know, and before, even if like day one they're in, I'm like, that's a good person, like I have good vibes from that, I think they make a great mod. I still wait just to see if they stick around or continue to support the channel. And another thing that I see a lot is that a lot of times community members can come in and out the gate, they're like, you're like, oh, they're so great, I'm so glad this person's here. And then the more comfortable they get, the more they show their true colors, and you're just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no,
that's
rude or creepy or problematic, and my opinion has changed. And that can happen 5 months after they've joined the community or something, you know. It's just like,
for sure. Or when they become a mod and they get more power and they get closer to you. Like that's another thing that I think streamers need to think about, is like the line of like trusting your mods. Like, you know, there's definitely a line where, you know, community members get too attached or something, and then it's just like this whole change in personality. Like it's definitely something that people need to keep an eye about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm really careful with that. And I think just based on like how much time I spend thinking about that, and how much time I spend with that community member before giving them that position, right, I think by that time they 100% get it. You know, they're already good people, so they get it in that regard, but they've been a part of the community for so long that they've seen what gets modded, they've seen what flies and what doesn't. Yeah. And it's also kind of easy because I just have a zero tolerance policy. Like I don't, like, if you come in and say something toxic, it's not a timeout. Like you're just gone. Like I just don't have time. I don't have energy. Like I don't want to risk losing like community members that I really value, which there's like every person in my community is just like such a magical little bean. And I don't want them for a second to feel like they shouldn't be there, or that they don't belong, or that isn't a safe space. So I'm just like, I'm zero tolerance. Like,
and it can hijack the entirety of the stream.
Yeah.
Like your attention is now on that toxic, and even if it's a teaching moment, like you're now having to spend that time doing it. And the more you stream, I don't think anybody's surprised by this, you end up having the exact same teaching moment for the exact same behavior over and over and over again. There's a point where you're like, maybe we don't have to rehash it again this hour. We'll give it another 2 hours before we talk about that again.
Yeah. So I don't know. I probably should type something up, but also I just think if you find the right people, they're gonna sync up with you, and they're gonna know what's good for you, but also like what's good for the community, and what's more importantly, what's bad for it, I guess, you know, what's damaging to what you want for your channel and for your community. So it's worked out so far. Thank you, mods.
Chef Hazmat asks, how do you, as being in the public eye, react when you find out something unflattering is posted about you somewhere online?
Oh God. I guess coming from experience, to answer that really quickly, you either ignore it, you delete it, you ban it, you time it out, or you report it. That's like all of the things that you could possibly do. But coming from, I guess, my whole experience that I've had for 2.5 years, I've had the same person constantly, daily, cyberbully me on Twitter. They don't even touch Twitch because they'll get their butts kicked on Twitch if they ever tried anything. So they do Twitter. And it's almost every single day that they either post something mean or they'll post something unflattering. And as I said, for the past 2.5 years, that really weighs on you. So coming from somebody that's had this happen to them, it's best, if you can't do anything about it, it's best to ignore it, because it is not worth your time. It's not worth your emotion, like, you know, negative, any kind of emotion to be put on it. If you can't do anything about it, just ignore it and move on. And I know that's really hard because we're all really curious individuals, and sometimes we do like to look and stuff, but every single time I can tell you it was not worth it. It is not worth looking. So,
I just don't go on Reddit.
Yeah, I don't even go on Reddit.
Don't you allow yourself to be able to see the things in the first place?
Yeah, if you can do that. Yeah, if you can allow yourself to not see that at all. Like, obviously Twitch has all the auto mods and stuff. Like, that's a possibility. Like what you just said, Lowco, about, or not just said, earlier in the channel, or early in the show, you said, you know, Better Twitch TV has the way to delete the message, so you just don't even know that happens. Twitter has ways where you can make it so that you don't even see people that, like, you don't even see their messages in the feed if they don't have an image, or they haven't been following you or haven't even followed you at all.
Them.
Yeah,
if they say something terrible, and they'll never know that you can't see it again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
It's
I love it.
Yeah, if it's like follower only mode.
Yeah, it's like follow.
On Twitter, you can turn on follower only mode, where only the people who follow you can read their comments. Exactly. If someone's going to comment on your on a tweet of yours because somebody else retweeted it, you know, if they like what you said, they can come in and follow. If they like what you said and they comment on it, you're not missing out on you're not missing out on, you know, some great diatribe that's going to change the entirety of your being. So you might miss out on a couple of things that are okay. Chances are, we all know the internet. Chances are you're missing out on stuff you want to miss out on.
Yep. What is that called? I need to turn that on.
I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I think it just says only see replies from people who follow you. From accounts.
Yeah, exactly. There's other settings too, and obviously there's muted words both on Twitch and Twitter that you can add to. If you haven't done that yet, I strongly recommend it. There's also something on Instagram too. My Instagram just got so bad where I ended up just totally taking out of comments at all. I don't allow comments at all.
Yeah. So now that's interesting too. Vana, I wanted to ask you about that in regard to this same question. Mm-hmm. You said that you have a comedy background.
Oh no, that was Vana. I don't have a comedy background.
Right. Yeah, that was Vana. Vana, you were saying I may have misspoken. I don't know that you have a comedy background. How do you handle things in a different way when it comes to unflattering things that show up outside of Twitch, that you can turn it into, you know, pretending like you didn't understand it in the way that they meant it, like very obviously they meant it harshly, and you're like, oh, thanks for the compliment. Kind of is there anything like that?
No, I'm like a delicate flower. So I just avoid it at all costs, and if I see it, I cry for 5 days, and then I'm cleansed, and then I move on with my life. But no, I never come back to it with witty banter. I think that's what you're getting at. Like, I'm making a joke about it, because people who are toxic like that aren't there to have like
that's definitely true.
They're there to, and I saw there was an article recently where this woman like DM'd all the people that sent her like harassment on Twitter, and she was like, what was your motivation for that? Like, I just want to talk to you a little bit about that. And the people who did respond were just like, I just wanted to get a reaction. Like, I don't care if you respond. Like, I wasn't going to reply. Like, literally, and I don't even know. I don't even care if you really like. I don't even really care if you saw it. I just feel good that I sent that out into the world, and you probably saw it, and it made you feel something bad. Like, so it's just not worth it, you know? Like,
it's a weird level of honesty.
Right?
It's very not worth it though.
It's a weird level of thinking in
didn't
general.
Expect someone to reach out to them like that, to be like, hey, why'd you do that? Can I it's for an article, let's talk about it, you know? But yeah, I think that's how it feels to me too, whether, you know, that obviously doesn't cover all trolls or anything, but I don't think they really care to have a conversation with you or to know who you are at all, or even like I've shared articles before that have gotten me crazy harassed before, and you know, one was about being like how messed up it was to be like a woman on Twitch or like in the gaming space, and just like immediately just got completely smashed. I think like in 3 days I banned like 75 plus accounts on Twitter because they were all like calling me a thought and like all
or
this
blocked.
Calling me an idiot. And it's like you're there, and a lot of them were, and I didn't respond to any of it, but a lot of them were screaming at me because they're like, oh, they would make alt accounts and they'd be like, well, you just blocked me, like you don't even want to have a conversation about this. And I'm like, man, you don't want to have a conversation.
That's one of the tough things too.
You responded to me was just insulting me. You were like, you know, blank idiot, you know, like you.
I saw somebody mention something about that.
You don't want to have a conversation.
Policy. There are cases, there are times where a zero tolerance policy is important because we've been down that road before, and we know that somebody actively doesn't want to have, that fight's already been fought. Like, we already know that these things are bad and wrong, and we're not going to engage in that anymore.
And you referenced the comedy background, but I would equate it in that way to the same thing, where it's like, sure, certain comedians engage with hecklers, but that's a small number.
Definitely.
Right? And a lot of times when people do that as comedians, it kind of becomes part of like their act and their brand. And then you're only encouraging people to come to your shows and heckle you because now they're part of your show. So
and most of the time it's not enjoyable anyway.
It's the same for Twitch.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like if you're engaging with that behavior, if you're making it light and fun, then more people are going to think it's light and fun and appropriate to direct towards you and your community. And then it's just going to escalate from there. So I don't think there's any benefit unless, like we were saying earlier, that's your prerogative and you want to kind of like create a brand based on like toxic interactions. That's up to you. I don't necessarily support that endeavor, but you do you.
So we do have one more question that we're going to answer really quickly before we end. How does a streamer deal with negative chat on the stream, meaning everyone can see it, purged or not?
Wait, say it one more time.
How does a streamer deal with a negative chat on the stream, meaning everyone can see it, purged or not? So I guess they have their chat displayed on stream.
Oh, that's why I've never done that.
Yeah, I mean, it's another opportunity for them to get attention, right? Like, they type something, it's going to be on the stream, that's either going to be in the VOD or YouTube or like...
Change the subject.
I don't even have alerts for follows because so many people make just like bullshit,
terrible names.
Yep.
Stuff that are really horrible that I just turn that off so that names don't even pop up for that anymore.
My way to just handle that is if that ever happens, change the subject. Literally, if it's totally like crazy, I sometimes ask an easy question like, "Where are you guys from?" And then it's just like, you know, and it totally clears the chat.
What's your favorite email combo?
Oh yeah, what's your favorite email?
Kappa check.
What's your favorite email? Like simple questions just to get it out of there. And if it constantly happens, then just put it in sub-only mode. Like just have fun with. I mean, when I first started streaming, I was talking to myself. So I mean, like if I have to do that again, okay, I'll have to do that again. Like just like focus on the positivity. Negative people will like at least from what I've experienced, I haven't seen people that are just like gonna stay there for so long. I'm sure there's people like there that exist, but good chances are people are not gonna stay there and wait until like, follow only mode is off or sub only mode is off. They're
Right.
gonna go and just go troll somewhere else until they can get banned in another place. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and
100%.
if your chat has just like steered into a negative direction, like that's exactly what Kylie said. Like change the subject, move on, do something that just incites a little spam to kind of like reset everything. Reset the mood. Like run a giveaway.
Top 10 enemy.
Yeah, run a giveaway. Hey, who wants to win this? Awesome.
Easiest way to clear out chat is what's your favorite anime or what's the worst anime or whatever.
What's your favorite anime music video? Please.
Perfect.
Yeah, literally anything.
It better only be Full Metal Alchemist.
If it becomes overwhelming, do take note. Physically get up and go take a break. If your chat is still crazy, go take a break. I know how caught up in the moment we can get when we stream, but go take a break, decompress, get some water, relax, and then come back. If you can, come back with a smile on your face and a way to be like, you know what? I'm going to push past this. I'm going to make sure that we're going to steer the channel or the chat in a positive way as best as you can. I know I get caught up sometimes, and that's like where I can easily just fight back. But I feel like when I get that point, I'm just like, okay, I need a break. I'm gonna go break.
I also feel like people should know it's okay to stop streaming.
Yeah, that's too. You can just stop.
If you are messed up, if you're upset, like that totally happens. It's okay to stop the stream and take care of yourself. You have to put and I know like what we want most out of ourselves is to not let that stuff get to us. But like Kylie, I think you were talking about earlier, it's like everybody has bad days.
Accept your humanity.
Some days you're a brick wall. Some days you're like a microwave bowl of jelly, and that's okay. And that's part of being like a human that experiences emotion and like empathy and
absolutely
and things like that. And so it's okay to stop stream, and it's okay. I know like when I was getting like completely bombarded on one of these occasions by somebody's toxic community, I just took a couple days off, because a lot of times, especially if you're getting like a wall of abuse from like one particular place, if you just step away from the content for a couple days, they will forget about you.
Yeah. They will.
Today, it's not about you. It's about them and them feeling like powerful and like they have control over something or someone, or that they have the strength to affect like negative change in another human being. It's all toxicity. And if you're not there to like get their rocks off for them, then they'll go find somebody else. And that's
as
horrible.
sad as that is, but yeah.
And that's
like
horrible.
a video game charge up bar, right? Like the more you attack something, like it'll fill the thing up until you get your special meter. It's like that. The trolling can be like that in the same way. If you take a few days off, that meter's going down and down on that person until it gets to nothing, and then they go and do other stuff because they need a target. This is something that needs to be internally fulfilled. So it's a smart idea.
And that's also that time is also distancing yourself from them, but it's also recharging your inner strength and your mental health and your emotional health, which like for streaming is so key to keep those things like balanced, because otherwise, if you're not in a good headspace, you're not making, the content quality wise that you want to make. And then your viewership isn't getting what they came for. And it's all just this horrible cycle, and it's completely
this stream has been fantastic. This has been so informative and powerful. I feel like a ton of people could have been able to get a lot out of this from the perspectives and the stories that we've shared too, and ways to deal with it, and the stuff that Twitch has been implementing.
Honestly, it's also just really nice to talk about, because it's not an easy topic, and it's like not a very like well understood topic, in my opinion, for a lot of streamers that are just.
Well, it's one that you can easily internalize, and so it's really nice to know that other people are going through it and other people deal with stuff, that everybody else is also human. Even when you see us deal with it really well, there are many times you don't see it where we're off stream and we're still just like, so talking about it, I think, can be very powerful.
Yeah. Not a lot of streamers and that I've seen actively talk about being bullied or having harassed. Well, some do, but it's very common that not many people talk about it. And I feel like that's kind of important you need to talk about it. You need to let other people know.
It needs to
like,
not be the only subject, but it needs
yeah,
to be
not the only subject, but just like let people know. So like, because you're not the only one, and that's the thing.
Yeah. And I
For
think
sure.
talking about it when you're in a like a good and stable like head space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not in the moment, I don't think is the time to address it.
No.
because
Totally agree.
I say some crazy shit when I'm crying.
Yep.
The other thing I was gonna say is that it does happen to everybody. I think the first 4 years ago, the first comment in my stream was, "You look tired. Are you sick?"
Yeah, love that
was
one.
The
My
first
favorite
ever
one.
comment in my stream, and the second comment ever in my stream was, "You look like Aubrey Plaza's ugly cousin."
These are your first two. Welcome,
Comments
I guess.
ever. You know what I mean? So it's like
Wow.
you don't need to be a big streamer to get abuse. You don't need to be a medium streamer. You don't even need 5 viewers to be abused, and your feelings matter, and the harassment you're receiving, you know, that's real, and you deserve to feel your feelings based on that reaction, and no one gets to tell you that you're not like big enough to hurt like that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yep.
So, and no one's excluded from that, unfortunately.
Yeah, very well said. All right, so that is going to wrap it up for us, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. This has been a fantastic episode. Let's do some shout outs. Vanna, starting with you, where can we find you on social media? What are you up to?
Well, you can find me 6 days a week over on my Twitch channel. Just VANA is the channel name here. And then you can find me on Twitter, Havanarama, HAVANARAMA. And I also do tabletop RPGs over at Saving Throw Show, which is another channel here on Twitch. I am actually starting a mini campaign tomorrow at 6 p.m. PST for a system called Pugmire, which is essentially just like 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, but with dog people. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay.
Pugmire, yeah.
I'm seeing it.
It's really great. It's a really great system from Onyx Path. So we're working in tandem with that to produce it. And I will be GMing it, or guiding it as it's called. So please tune in for that. That'll be tomorrow, and then the next following Tuesdays after that, 6 p.m. PST on Saving Throw Show. And then I'll be over on, I also host over at Geek and Sundry and Alpha. And so I'll be over at Geek and Sundry tomorrow at 4 p.m. on Game Engine.
You are all over the place.
DDR movie.
That's awesome.
So you can follow me at all those places. And yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
Kylie?
Well, let's see. I stream 5 days a week, Sunday through Thursday. You can find me on twitch.tv/MissKyliee, MissKylie, 2 E's. I'm going to be on the front page of Twitch on Wednesday. Woo!
Yay!
Woo! I'm going to be playing, I've been playing lately Maple Story 2, and Maple Story 2 is going to officially launch on Wednesday, so that's going to be a pretty fun day. I also sometimes do like fun events on my stream, and I plan to do a really fun Maple Story 2 themed event that everybody can enjoy on October 14th that I'm really excited about, and I hope you guys could join me. Off Twitch, you can find me on Twitter. It's same as my Twitch, MissKyliee, and I also have Instagram, miss.kylie, if you guys want to look at that. Oh, also TwitchCon. If any of you guys are going to TwitchCon, I'm going to be having a panel on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. It's going to be a pretty early one. We're going to be talking about mental health in gaming. And I'm also going to do a charity. I'm doing a newlywed game with my boyfriend, Mr. Llama SC, and we're going to be trying to win more money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention with other streamers.
Wonderful.
Too. Really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Can I plug my TwitchCon thing?
Yeah, go
I'm
for
also
it.
doing the Charity Plaza with Tilted Fire, but I'm
Beautiful.
hosting the segment on Friday at 4:30, and it's reverse match game. And there's lots of cool broadcasters involved with that, and I'm co-hosting it with Shadow_Temple. That should be cool. Also, like,
Tilted Fire stuff is wonderful.
I just want to address how shiny I am. I left the window open, and the sun has moved.
Yep, as the sun.
And I am so sorry for blinding you all and chat.
It's your blinding radiance.
Sorry.
As for me, I am the TheHunterWild. I have put in almost 80 hours this week on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm actually at 78 hours as of today. That's what I'm doing immediately after this. I'm trying to 100% the game. It's the biggest Assassin's Creed that's ever happened. It's in ancient Greece. I got a degree in philosophy with 2 things as ancient philosophy, focusing on ancient Greeks, and existentialism. I got to meet Socrates. I'm doing as much as I can in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm all about it. So I'm expecting to put in like 200 hours into the game within the next like week ish. So you guys can find me at twitch.tv/TheHunterWild. Over on Twitter, just put TheHunterWild with a TV after it. I'm gonna get that removed one day. Amputate the TV part. That's where you can find me. It's a variety stream, doing launch events every time there's a new game that comes out. Fallout 76 is the next one. It's gonna be huge. Where we go ham. What about you, Lowco?
I'm excited.
So I do want to say before you guys head out, there is actually another show right after this show called Your Brand, Your Business. That is going to be with Chickenators and Warbnull. One is a financial planner and the other one is a tax professional. So if you guys want to listen to 2 awesome professionals teach you about the business side of streaming, I definitely encourage you guys to stick around a little bit longer for the next show.
Very important.
It is a lot of really cool stuff that you normally have to pay these guys hundreds of dollars an hour to learn from. So you're getting
I actually do
free awesome education. Yes.
I work with both.
Bragging, Hunter?
No. I work with both of them. I can personally recommend these two guys.
I give them so much money.
I give them tons of money. My streamer million.
Your fake $100 bills.
I do have fake $100 bills.
I know.
But yeah, so you guys should stick around for that because like they are super awesome people and they will teach you things that we cannot because we pay them to teach us that. So stick around for that right after the show. But I am Lowco. You can find me at twitch.tv/Lowco. I am also playing Assassin's Creed. I have a fraction of the hours Hunter has because I stream like a normal 6-hour daily schedule.
Mere mortal.
And if you guys want more from StreamerSquare, definitely make sure to follow us on Twitter. We have YouTube and obviously here on Twitch. We also have a website and a Discord. So we have all of the tools for you guys, free educational content and help for your guys' stream and your guys' business. So definitely check out those resources. And thank you guys for tuning in. So there is Your Brand, Your Business right after this, guys. So stay tuned. They will be live in just a moment. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.